So you may be an iPhone owner and you may be trying to figure out some ways you can actually go ahead and keep your iPhone for as long as possible. Now, one of the best ways to do this, I think, is put a case and screen protector on your phone. But another great way to do this is to maintain that the battery health of your device is as high as possible for as long as possible. Now, my last iPhone that I owned, I had a horrible experience with the battery health. It was degrading like crazy. With the iPhone 13s, I hope you guys can take some of these things that I've learned from my past so you can keep your iPhone for as long as possible. And the first thing I'd recommend doing is making your way over to your settings app. You want to scroll down until you see this little battery option, which is right here. Then you want to go ahead and click on the second option, which says battery health. So when you click on that, what's going to happen is you're going to basically be able to see your maximum capacity for your iPhone. This is your battery health. That is your battery life. This is your battery life. Your battery health is different. Every iPhone starts at 100%, and it's basically going to degrade after that. There's a lot of wind going outside. I don't know what's going on. So basically, every single day, it's essentially going down a little bit. Now, most of the time, it's still going to be at 100%, even like a couple months later. The first thing I'd recommend doing, though, that Apple kind of pushed out recently is to update your iPhone. And that number I just showed you, the battery health, is a calculation. So sometimes the calculations can be wrong and they're not always accurate. So what I'd recommend doing is to go into your general settings here. You want to click on software update and you want to update your iPhone to the most recent version of software. Now, if you want to go to iOS 15 and you're on 13 or 14, then go for it. But being on the most latest version of software is a pretty good thing to do unless it's like the first version of iOS 15 or iOS 16 in the future. Sometimes those calculations Apple can get a little bit more accurate with every single update. So I'd recommend updating your iPhone and seeing if that improves your battery health. Now, another thing that I would recommend doing if you want to maintain the battery health of your iPhone, and this is something that I learned last year, is to basically avoid wireless charging your device. So essentially when you wirelessly charge your device, the phone for some reason just overheats like crazy, especially on Apple's MagSafe charger. A lot of these, chargers actually degrade the battery life and battery health of your specific iPhone. So what I would recommend doing is to plug your iPhone into the charging port at the bottom. I know that sounds outdated and crazy now if you have a wireless charger, but these wireless charger pads, a lot of them, and every single one I've owned, have always overheated my device. And with something like the MagSafe charger that I had, the same exact thing happened too. So I'd recommend just, avoiding the wireless chargers for now and let them get a little bit better still and just plug in your iPhone to the bottom. And I guarantee you by the end of that year or the end of your life of your iPhone, that will probably help maintain a lot of that battery health. It's probably still going to go down, but that's the first thing I'd recommend doing. Now, on top of that, because of the wireless chargers, they overheat your device. I would recommend avoiding any type of overheating of your device. So if you leave your iPhone in the sun and it's always like basking in the sun and it overheats, if you're playing a lot of games on your iPhone and it's overheating like crazy, or if you're exporting a lot of videos from your device or whatever the case is, if your iPhone is always overheating, that is another way that your iPhone battery health can go down. Now, FaceTime is an application that just overheats my phone like crazy. So if you're doing a lot of FaceTime calls, I would honestly recommend lowering the brightness of your device, closing out of any apps in the background, but you may also want to maybe be in a cooler position. If you're in a super hot area and you're FaceTiming for hours and hours, your iPhone may actually end up degrading that battery health. On top of that, if you're using your iPhone for a GPS, your car or something, that sun can also bask in your iPhone, that way too. So there's no ways to kind of overcome that, but if you can, try to avoid letting your iPhone get super hot all the time. That's another big thing I would recommend doing. So overheating and basically your iPhone being super cold too. You want to be in that room temperature kind of thing. You don't want it to be super hot and super cold. But also if you're letting your iPhone die all the time. So if your iPhone is at 100% when you start the day and it's just constantly dying, and then you charge it back up to 10% and it's dying and it goes. When you do that, that also affects the battery health a lot as well. So that is another big thing I'd recommend doing, not letting your iPhone constantly die. That is essentially, in my opinion, one of the main things you can do to pretty much keep that iPhone for as long as possible. So that's the main thing. Ultimately, if your battery health is at 76% and it's really, it's not an iPhone problem, it's essentially you just kind of had it for a long time, I would probably recommend getting your battery replaced by Apple. So if this is below 80%, there's really not much you can do. You can update your phone, you can do all these other things, but I would honestly recommend contacting Apple and having them replace your battery. Or you can also try replacing your battery yourself in a couple of months when Apple's service repair program comes out. And if it's an easy fix, you might want to try it out. If not, then you may have to just get it replaced, in my opinion. So those are some ways you can maintain the battery health of your iPhone and, in order to fix it some ways. If you guys have any other questions or anything like that, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.